You don't need bad luck to die broke. You only need to be smart in exactly the wrong way, not just sometimes, not a few exceptions, consistently. A 20-year study tracking over 7,000 adults found almost no correlation between IQ and net worth. None. The reason has nothing to do with money, nothing to do with opportunity, and nothing to do with the economy. This video explains the 4 psychological traps that intelligence itself creates. Traps that keep the brightest minds financially trapped, while people with half their IQ build wealth in silence. This is the paradox of the intelligent mind. Smart people are unusually good at understanding complex systems. They can analyze markets, calculate probabilities, explain economic theory. They can tell you exactly why most people fail with money. And yet, a philosophy professor with 160 IQ can live paycheck to paycheck. A software engineer who writes code that changes the world can have nothing in savings. A medical researcher who understands statistics at the highest level can be drowning in credit card debt. The mind that is capable of extraordinary intellectual achievement is often the same mind that constructs the most elaborate prison for itself. The question is why? The first reason is invisible to the people who suffer from it most. Intelligence creates a quiet form of arrogance, not the loud kind that announces itself, but a deeper assumption that being smart means you will figure things out, that the rules that apply to everyone else do not quite apply to you. A highly intelligent person reads about compound interest once and believes they understand wealth. They confuse knowing with doing. They mistake recognition for mastery. And so, they do not do the boring things. They do not track expenses. They do not automate savings. They do not build systems because systems feel beneath them. Systems are for people who need help. Smart people believe they can think their way out of any problem in real time. But money does not respond to intelligence. Money responds to behavior. And behavior operates below the level of conscious thought. The second trap is even more subtle. Smart people think before they act. This is usually a strength, but with money it becomes a curse. The intelligent mind wants to optimize everything. It wants the perfect investment strategy, the perfect asset allocation, the perfect timing, and so it researches. And researches, and researches some more. Months pass, years pass. The analysis never ends because no decision is ever perfect enough to satisfy a mind trained to see complexity everywhere. Meanwhile, someone with half the IQ opens a basic index fund, sets up automatic contributions, and never thinks about it again. 10 years later, the overthinker is still researching. The person who acted imperfectly is wealthy. The intelligent mind is terrified of making a mistake. But the real mistake is the paralysis itself. The failure to act is not neutral. It is a decision with its own compounding consequences. There is a third layer, and it cuts deeper than the first two. Smart people are often surrounded by other smart people. They went to good schools. They work in impressive professions. They exist in social ecosystems where intelligence is currency. And in those ecosystems, money becomes symbolic. It becomes a signal, not a tool. A lawyer earns $300,000 a year and spends $310,000. Not because she needs the things she buys, but because in her world, a certain car, a certain neighborhood, a certain private school for her children, these are not luxuries. They are entry requirements. The tragedy is not that she cannot afford her life. The tragedy is that she has no choice but to afford it. She is trapped inside an identity that costs more than she earns. And every raise, every bonus, every promotion simply raises the cost of staying in the game. This is the invisible trap that catches the intelligent. They earn more than most people will ever earn, and they are still broke. Not because they are bad with money in the traditional sense, but because their money is being consumed by something they cannot see. The maintenance of an identity that intelligence itself created. The final trap is perhaps the most dangerous of all. Smart people are drawn to complexity. It is what makes them feel alive. A simple solution feels wrong. It feels incomplete. It feels like it must be missing something. And so the intelligent person, when faced with a financial problem, will often ignore the simple answer in favor of the sophisticated one. They will invest in exotic assets before they have an emergency fund. They will optimize tax strategies before they have any meaningful savings to protect. They will spend months learning about derivatives and options and private equity while their checking account sits empty. Wall Street knows this. The entire financial industry is designed to exploit the intelligent person's addiction to complexity. Products are made complicated on purpose, not because complexity improves returns, but because complexity sells to people who are too smart to trust simplicity. The irony is brutal. The simple path to wealth has been known for decades. Spend less than you earn. Invest the difference in broad, low-cost assets. Wait. That is it. That is the entire formula. But it is too simple for the intelligent mind to respect. And so the intelligent mind stays broke, not despite its intelligence, but because of it. The most dangerous prison is not ignorance. It is intelligence without self-awareness. A mind that can justify anything will justify its own destruction. A mind that can rationalize any decision will rationalize the very behaviors that keep it trapped. The solution is not to be less intelligent. The solution is to understand that intelligence is a tool, not a shield. It can build, it can destroy, it can create wealth, or it can construct the most elaborate explanation for why you have none. The difference is not what you know about money. The difference is whether you have the humility to act on what is simple, boring, and true.